It had been almost 3 days since I lost contact with my husband. Although he said he wouldn't respond for a while, I was starting to get worried. Just as I was thinking I might need to contact the police, I received a phone call from his subordinate. "Your husband has died in an accident." What? I couldn't comprehend why she was calling me. But I couldn't think about that now. I rushed to the hospital. There, I found my husband in a tragically altered state. "My name is Penelope, and I'm 28 years old. I married 2 years ago and live with my husband while working at an IT company. Though we want children someday, we don't have any yet. My husband's name is Jake. He's 2 years older than me and very dedicated to his work. Just recently, there was talk of his promotion. That day, as soon as he got home from work, he rushed to me excitedly. 'Penelope. Listen. I might get a promotion.' 'Really? That's wonderful. I'm so happy. There were tough times, but it was worth working hard. Jake, you've been working so many weekends. I'm really happy for you, congratulations.' My husband was so devoted to his work that he even went to the office on Saturdays. He often came home late from overtime, just before midnight. Though I worried about his intense workload, it had finally paid off. Seeing him so happy made me feel happy too. I felt motivated to work harder myself. However, since that day, I started noticing something odd about Jake's behavior. His overtime increased even more than before, with weekday returns after midnight. His weekend work, which used to be just a few times a month, gradually increased until last month when he was even going to the office on Sundays. Not only that, but his attitude toward me seemed to grow colder. We used to go out together on our days off, but lately, that stopped too. Isn't this strange? Despite such an intense workload, why doesn't he show any signs of fatigue? Concerned, I decided to carefully ask him about it. I waited for him to return from overtime and brought up the topic. "Hey Jake, do you have a minute?" "What?" "I'm tired and want to go to bed. You've been coming home late lately, but you're always on your phone before bed. Aren't you getting enough sleep?" "What are you trying to say?" "How I use my free time is my business, isn't it?" "That's true, but..." "Hey, are you really that busy at work?" At my question, his expression froze for a moment. Noticing this, I pressed on. "I understand there's a lot to do with the promotion, but isn't this too much? You're working too many weekends, and isn't it bad for the company to overwork employees?" "I can't help it. It's not like I want to work overtime and weekends. But isn't it too much? You don't understand my work. Stop meddling when I come home tired." With that, Jake stormed out of the living room. After that, my unease didn't subside. Then one day, while driving home from work as usual, I got into an accident. Another car rear-ended me, and I was taken to the hospital by ambulance. I was bruised all over. They wanted to run some tests to be safe, and I was told I needed to stay in the hospital for a few days. I called my husband to bring me some clothes and necessities. However, no matter how many times I called, he wouldn't answer, nor did he respond to my messages. Work should be over by now, so why? Until now, he could at least exchange messages even during overtime. I kept calling every few minutes, and finally got through an hour later. As I tried to explain the situation, he immediately let out a heavy sigh. Sigh. How annoying. Can't you figure out I'm working overtime when I don't answer? Sorry, but this can't wait. What do you mean? Actually, I got into an accident on my way home from work and have to be hospitalized. I'm bruised all over, but they say it's not life-threatening. An accident? Ugh, why are you causing such trouble? His unexpected response made me gasp, what? As I was lost for words, he continued mercilessly. Don't get into accidents when I'm busy. I'm not paying for the car repairs, got it? I understand. But more importantly, I need you to bring me some clothes. What? Why should I have to do that? I'm tired from work, and I'm not going to the hospital for some idiot who got into an accident due to carelessness. What kind of punishment game is this? Idiot? Why are you talking like that? Besides, the accident wasn't my fault, it was the other driver's. Shut up with your excuses. Anyway, I'm not coming, and I won't respond for a while. Figure it out yourself. The call ended there. The dial tone echoed in my ear, making me feel cornered. Before I knew it, I was crying. Why would he say such things? Isn't he worried that his wife got into an accident? He used to prioritize me over work before. I would get the clothes myself if I could. My parents lived too far away to ask them for help. After that, I sent many messages to my husband, but he never brought my belongings. I had to buy everything I needed from the hospital store. I tried contacting my husband several times after that, but 3 days passed without any response. Although he said he wouldn't respond for a while, I was starting to get worried. This much silence is unusual. Could he have gotten into an accident too? Such anxiety crossed my mind. Just then, I heard a knock on my hospital room door. When I said, "Come in," my close colleague Vicky came to visit. Vicky. You came. Thank you. When I tried to contact you because you'd been away from work, I heard you were in an accident. I was so surprised. It's just bruises and a fracture, nothing too serious. That's serious enough. But I'm glad you're doing okay. For a while after that, we chatted about various things. As visiting hours were ending and Vicky was preparing to leave, she suddenly stopped moving and showed a troubled expression. Seeing her looking like she wanted to say something, I nervously asked, "Vicky, is something wrong?" "I'm sorry, Penelope. I know this isn't the time to say this, but I saw something." "Saw what?" "Your husband, walking with Claire." "What? When was this?" 3 days ago. Claire, whom Vicky mentioned, is a junior colleague at the same company. When she was a new employee, I was her trainer. Even now, years later, we still have lunch together once a week. Why would she be with Jake? The last time Jake and Claire met was at our wedding. Could it be that time? Although I thought it impossible, the worst scenario started forming in my mind. According to Vicky, she saw my husband and Claire with a suitcase 3 days ago. Since then, Claire has been on leave. Fearfully, I called my husband's company, and my suspicions were confirmed. My husband had also taken leave starting 3 days ago. At that moment, my doubts turned to certainty. My beloved husband and the junior colleague I had cared for. To be betrayed simultaneously by 2 people I trusted. Probably, the increase in his overtime and weekend work was because he was meeting her. No, perhaps they had been involved even before that. As I recalled my husband's suspicious behavior, more and more things started making sense. Ah, so that's why he became so cold. It all fell into place surprisingly easily. Unconsciously, I was calling my husband. Over these past few days, thinking he wouldn't answer anyway, I had barely tried contacting him. He probably wouldn't answer after just a few calls. But I couldn't let them do as they pleased. I kept calling until he would pick up. After 30 minutes of calling, my husband finally answered with an irritated voice. "What is it? You're so persistent. I told you I wouldn't respond for a while. Why? Are you too busy to even answer calls from your wife?" "Of course. I'm working every day. Even though you're on leave until tomorrow." "What kind of work are you doing?" Probably thinking he hadn't been found out yet, my husband stumbled over his words for a moment. Still thinking he could deceive me, he quickly started making excuses. "What are you talking about? I haven't taken any leave. It's useless to pretend. I've already confirmed with your company." "Well, actually, I suddenly wanted to relax. I've been taking it easy at home these past few days." "Oh really, with Claire? Even preparing a suitcase?" "I know everything. Just confess." My voice rose uncharacteristically. Then my husband, realizing he couldn't hide it anymore, showed his true colors. "Oh well. So you found out." "That's right, I'm on vacation with Claire." "Now that you know, stop bothering us, you ugly woman." So it was true. Why? Why with Claire? Isn't it obvious? Because she's younger and prettier than you. Are we done here? We're in the middle of a fun trip, stop interfering. Don't worry, I'll divorce you when I get back. He ended with, "See ya," and hung up. My love for my husband instantly turned to hatred. Unforgivable. To be betrayed in such a terrible way. I won't let them do as they please. I'll make sure they go through hell. Thus, I decided to take revenge on them. However, before I could act, divine punishment would befall them. The next day, I was discharged from the hospital and could move around somewhat. As I opened my phone to look for a law office to help with my revenge against my husband and Claire, I received a call. The screen showed Claire's name, my husband's mistress. Though surprised for a moment, I couldn't run away now. I steeled myself and answered the phone. "Hello? Penelope. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Shouldn't you apologize in person? That's common courtesy." "You're right. But this can't wait." Claire's voice was trembling. Then she said something I couldn't believe. "Your husband has died in an accident." "What?" The shock was so great I couldn't find the right words. Confused but managing to respond to Claire, "Dead? What are you talking about? Jake is on a trip with you, right?" "Yes, that's true, but on our way home, we got into an accident." According to Claire, they had gotten into an accident while driving home from the airport. Jake was hit by a car, and although she immediately called an ambulance, he didn't move at all. Even more surprisingly, Jake was transported to the same hospital where I was staying. I immediately hung up and explained the situation to the nurse, then headed to my husband's location. My fracture hadn't fully healed, so I had to move with crutches. Having heard he had died, I thought I would be led to the morgue, but surprisingly, Jake was still alive. However, he was seriously injured. Shortly after I arrived, Claire rushed in out of breath. When she saw Jake lying in the bed and realized he was still alive, her legs gave out right there. Although I had plenty to say, Jake was in critical condition. I told Claire we would talk properly another time, and we all went home for the day. A few days later, although Jake managed to survive, the accident left him paralyzed from the waist down, forcing him to use a wheelchair. His parents rushed to the hospital and were furious when they learned about the affair trip. Though they must have had mixed feelings seeing their son in such a state, they clearly scolded him, saying, "This is what you get for having an affair." After his parents left, I called Claire and decided to have a talk with the three of us in my husband's hospital room. When I arrived at his room, to my surprise, they were having a loud argument. "If you hadn't pushed me then, this wouldn't have happened to me. This is all your fault." "What? You're the one who said we should take that road. Don't blame others." "What? First of all, this happened because you wanted to go on a trip. I even paid for all the travel expenses. Return the money. Pay for my medical treatment too. You damaged the man you love, of course you should compensate. Don't be ridiculous. Who would seriously fall for a man like you? This was just for fun. I never want to see you again." Apparently unaware of my presence, they continued their unbearable argument. I had reached my limit. I forcefully opened the door to the hospital room, took a deep breath, and shouted at them. "That's enough. This happened because you had an affair in the first place. Take your blame game somewhere else." "Oh, Penelope." Finally noticing my presence, their faces tensed up. Facing their shocked expressions, I continued undeterred. "How can you still fight in this situation? Do you understand the position you're in?" Jake was the first to answer my question. "Penelope. Don't worry. I'm breaking up with this stupid woman." "Oh really? And then?" "Well, I realized you're the only one for me." "What? What are you saying now? We're getting divorced, right?" "Huh?" I couldn't help but laugh at my husband's dumbfounded face as he stared at me with wide eyes. "You said it yourself, didn't you? That we'd divorce when you got back from the trip. Or what? Now that you've fought with your mistress, you want to continue being married to me? Are you stupid? No sane person would share their life with a jerk like you." "Penelope, why? Didn't you love me? Don't be ridiculous. Who betrayed that love first? It was you. You talked big about getting divorced, but now that things aren't going your way, you want to get back together. I'm not as cheap as you think. Get it? Never show your face to me again. Live with regret for the rest of your life. You scumbag." My husband was in a daze from my shouting. Claire had turned pale and was trembling violently. Later, I was discharged and decided to return to my parents' home for a while. After that, through a lawyer, my divorce from Jake was finalized. I properly demanded compensation from him and Claire, which they paid in full. Jake lost his job over this incident. Apparently, he had been claiming the money he used for the affair as company expenses. He was promptly fired. All that remained for him were damage claims from the company. With his paralyzed body, finding new employment would probably be difficult. It didn't take long for the news of Claire's affair with my husband to spread throughout the company. Everyone started giving her cold looks, and unable to bear the atmosphere, Claire began taking unauthorized absences. As a result, I heard she finally submitted her resignation. Those two will probably never be able to live a normal life again. Still, I feel no sympathy for them. This is a disaster they brought upon themselves. As for me, I rented an apartment near the company and started a new life. Many colleagues approach me out of concern or curiosity, but honestly, my feelings are complicated and hard to describe. But such petty gossip will soon die down. Now I want to enjoy my life for myself, without being swayed by others.